Okay. It was a cool and quiet night, the kind you normally love to have after a hot day. The plains were still, except for the gentle breeze and some small nocturnal animals going about their business. As for the nighttime predators, it seemed they were off somewhere else for the time being. Most of them. In the fenced pasture of Farmer Dale, the cows slept peacefully, unaware of a terrible threat creeping up on them. It moved quietly in the shadows around gopher holes and dropped manure with practiced ease, and slowly approached the herd from upwind where its scent would not be detected. Then, as it got close, the shadowy shape broke into a full out run straight for an unsuspecting brown cow, feet pounding in the darkness. A two-footed rhythm pounded the prairie for a short few seconds, then suddenly there was a muffled thump as the shadowy figure struck bovine. The sleeping cow tipped over to the side, and its dull eyes opened in surprise as it fell. Moo! It mooed. The shadowy figure started to giggle in the darkness, and it sped full tilt for another cow, hoping to catch a second in surprise before the herd woke up. There was a second thud, a second surprised moo, and the giggling grew louder. The herd started to stir, but were slow enough to try for a hat trick, except that the third cow was not as it appeared. As tipping was imminent, the cow broke apart into two halves, proving to be no cow at all, but a pair of people in a cow suit. The nighttime tipper stopped suddenly in surprise and was immediately accosted by the costumed duo. There was a struggle, and a female voice cried out from the cow tipper's throat, "Hey, let go of me!" She lashed out with a knee, and one figure wearing the cow's head folded over, groaning, but by then reinforcements had arrived. Another costumed figure grabbed hold of the girl's arm, while one turned on a flashlight in the darkness. "Jen! Jen!" the light holding figure shouted, holding a hand out, palm out. "It's us!" The flashlight illuminated a busty brunette with green eyes, dressed in faded blue jeans and an old black shirt. She looked up, blinking in surprise. "Kathy?" The holder of the flashlight shined the light on her own face, that of a long, curly-haired brunette girl, the one indeed known as Kathy. Jen stopped struggling, and the two figures holding Jen's arms went to help the fallen person. "What are you doing here?" Jen cried out, her voice a mixture of shock, disbelief, and discomfort. Just felt like getting kicked to the nuts tonight," the figure who had fallen muttered in a pained voice as he slowly straightened up. Jen's face fell a little more. "Mel? You too?" Light flashed off Mel's glasses as Kathy passed the light over him, and then over a spiky-haired girl, and finally, the last of the costumed figure, a severe-looking girl with glasses. Jen looked even more uncomfortable. "Michelle? Alex? You two got dressed up in a cow suit too?" Truly, it was an odd occurrence, one that probably would only happen in the warped mind of a young writer, but there they all were. Alex grimaced, stepped out of the suit, and regarded Jen levelly. "Jen, we were worried about you." Jen took a guilty step back, unable to look anyone in the eye, choosing to look anywhere, to the ground, to the sky, and an uncomfortable amount towards the cows who crowded in fear on the other side of the pasture. "Worried enough to take a knee to the nuts, I might add," Mel muttered indignantly. "Mel, this isn't about your nuts," Michelle replied. "Easy enough for you to say. You could still have children," Mel returned. Guys," Jen interrupted. "What do you mean you were worried?" "Well, you're out late at night in a farmer's field, for one," Kathy answered. 10 miles away from home," Michelle added. "Standing in cow crap," Mel noted, kicking said substance off his shoe with a shudder. Jen shifted about and tried to look indignant. "Just having a little fun." "Jen, we know what's going on here," Alex stated flatly, putting her hands on Jen's shoulders to force her to look her in the eyes. "Your mom's been noticing you sneaking out at nights," Kathy admitted. "Not to mention the stain of cow flops on your shoes," Mel noted dryly and pointed at the shoes in question. "Wash them all you want. Feet don't normally smell that way, and we know it." Jen sighed and pulled out of Alex's grip. "Really, it's nothing big." "Moo," Mel blurted out of nowhere. Suddenly, Jen's arm snapped out and with an expert speed and accuracy knocked Mel down on his ass. Mel grunted as he hit earth, frowned slightly, and readjusted his glasses. Jen looked down at her outstretched hand in revulsion and backed a step away. "Mel, Face it, Jen, Michelle stated flatly. You've got a problem. You're addicted to cow tipping. No, I'm not! Jen protested loudly, as if by volume she could deny reality. Jen, we've been checking up. You've tipped 147 cows, Kathy noted sadly. So? Jen snapped. This week, Kathy finished. There was an awkward silence for a moment as Jen struggled with her emotions, and her friends just watched on, wanting to make her feel better but unable to help. Reality sunk in for a few seconds, and Jen's face fell a little more. Well, she muttered and kicked a clump of earth awkwardly. It's not like I'm hurting anyone. Mel shifted his pants and whistled innocently. Alex glared, then turned back to Jen. Look, you've been out a lot at nights, but you still go to school. You're losing a lot of sleep, even considering what you get in math class. The bags under your eyes are probably a permanent feature by now, Michelle noted. And what happens if you twist your ankle in a gopher hole? Or what about coyotes? Kathy pressed. Hey, you've never done it. How would you know? Jen stated angrily, turning her back. You wouldn't understand. Oh, wouldn't we, Jen? Mel sighed softly, shaking his head. Come on, everyone's tried it once in their life. I mean, hey, cows falling down. It sounds like a hoot, doesn't it? But you just take it too far. It was hard to tell who said the last comment. It was muttered so quiet and so soulfully, it seemed to come more from the general heart of the group rather than any one voice. Once again, there was awkward silence, and Jen sniffled away a tear. Look, Michelle said quietly, putting her hand on Jen's shoulder. I know it'll be hard, but you've got to stop, not just cut back. And now, it'll only get worse. Your mom's at home right now, Kathy supplied. She's changing the locks and nailing your window shut. It's not that she doesn't trust you, but sometimes everyone needs a little help. Which is why I brought these PACT, People Against Cow Tipping pamphlets. It's a support group, Mel stated, pulling some brochures out from the cow suit. They'll help. Jen remained silent, looking at the ground. She looked up out of the corner of her eye to stare wistfully at the cows beyond a moment. But Kathy moved to block her view. Her eyes traveled back down to the ground, and her shoulders sagged a little in defeat. I wanted to tell someone, she sniffled quietly as a large tear rolled down her cheek. But I was having so much fun. You know, Alex said softly, taking Jen once more by the shoulders. But there's plenty of time to talk now. Let's just get to Mel's truck. The Melmobile. Alex rolled her eyes. And get you home. Jen sniffled some more and looked around at her friends. She looked helplessly at them a moment, then let herself be led off. Thanks, she muttered softly, her voice strained. I mean, you went to a lot of trouble renting the cow suit and all. Oh, we didn't rent them. They're mine, Mel corrected. Everyone stopped and looked incredulously at Mel. He shifted uncomfortably and smiled faintly. Well, a guy's gotta have evening wear. He grimaced and clutched his cow head a little tighter and scurried off to his truck. As soon as he was out of earshot, Michelle shot a tired look at Alex. So, when is his intervention going to happen? Alex sighed and just got into the truck. Everyone had had more than enough for one night. By Adam Didier. Wow. Note, A. All characters in this story are based on real people, and I have probably done their characters poorly. If you are one of those characters and would care to have your lines changed, please contact myself at blah 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 at hotmail.com. B. This story is fiction, but cow tipping addiction, or leading livestock syndrome, LLS, is a serious and very common disorder. If you or anyone you know is suffering from LLS, there are support groups such as PACT available. You have the power to fight LLS. Make the pact.